you so much, all of you. With this, we move to the first panel discussion of the day. It will be very interesting because the start perspective will have a mix of speakers from government, from the university, from the companies, from the HR, and also some of the industry. So we'll have divergent views on the challenges and opportunities for building the comprehensive skill ecosystem. The name of this panel is India's Nerve Center of Skill Development, the Road Ahead. For this, I would like to invite Mr. Shrikant Sinha, CEO, Telangana Academy for Skill and Knowledge, to come on stage, please. A huge round of applause for him. We are also joined by Mr. K. Dinesh Kumar, Additional Director General and Executive Director, Andhra Pradesh State Skill Development Corporation. Yes, a big round of applause for him. We'll be joined by Naresh Jadeja, Registrar, Marwadi University. Jadeja, if you can come on stage. Request Dr. Anunaya Chaubey, Provost, Anant National University, in dining on stage. A huge round of applause for him as well. I again request Dr. Anil Matu, Head Teacher Operations, Ashram is the people still in the regular sound. Dr. Anil Matu from Ashram. Here. Okay. Let me invite Colonel Rajesh, Ohol, Deputy Vice President HR, Johnson Controls-Hitachi Air Conditioning. Colonel Rajesh Ohol. Welcome. We are also joined by Rushikesh, Rajendra, CHRO and Senior VP, Strategic Initiatives, Gateway for Companies. So Rushikesh. And I'm like to invite Mr. Shrenik Parmar, CEO DegreeLabs, to come on stage. So Shrenik Parmar, CEO DegreeLabs, to come on stage. Okay, I'd like to request my colleagues to kindly inform Dr. Anil Matu and Shrenik Parmar to and call them inside the stage, inside the hall. You please take your seat. So without taking much time, I will start with Shrikant Sinha. He has come all the way from Telangana, and Shrikant Sinha in this task, which is commonly known as Telangana Academy for Skill and Knowledge, he's the CEO. Shrikant, my first question to you will be that how Telangana government is changing the landscape of building that comprehensive skill development ecosystem, especially when it comes to government initiatives, and how you're trying to bridge that gap between government, industry, and academia. I'll request you can take 5 minutes for the initial question, and then we'll see how we can manage time. So over to you, sir.
Sure. Thank you very much, and a very good afternoon to all. And thank you for providing me an opportunity to be here. I bring you greetings from the youngest state of India. And I think, Souvik, going by my name, you thought Krishnamachari Shrikant, who's a friend, is a cricketer and the opener, so you have asked me to open. So anyway, I'll also try to hit some sixes here. Let's see how it goes. So essentially in 2014, when the state got bifurcated, at that time they realized that less than 10% locals were actually employed. And the people who were employed were not meeting up to the expectations of the industry, and that's where task was created. Over the years, of course, we have been into skilling, but skilling for employability. Our vision is twofold. One is skill the youth so that they can become employable, and the second thing is provide right and ready manpower to the industry itself, because that's most crucial, right? So we have been working on both these agendas together, and I'm happy to say that earlier on itself, we realized that learning approach. So we sit over and above the academic curriculum itself, right? And we run programs across the years while a youth or the student is there in the colleges itself. We work with about 720 plus colleges across the state. We have skilled so far 8 lakh 7. Skilling students is not good enough if you don't skill the faculty. So we have skilled about 17,000 plus faculty members also across the state, both on pedagogy as well as the technology aspects, etc. Apart from that, we work with about 80 plus partners, the Amazons of the world, the Automation Anywhere, the all these companies. We work very closely with them and identify the skills required to bridge the gap between the academia and the industry, and provide these skilling courses in a laddered approach across years. More than 500 plus organizations advertise their entry-level jobs on our portal itself, and that's where these students get recruited. That's the first model. The second model is what we call as the finishing school, where we work with the industry vertical. For example, let's say cybersecurity. So we'll start running a program for people who are either unemployed, underemployed, or who are out of college, and skill them over a period of 45 days to 3 months duration, and provide them at least 70% of them jobs in that particular industry itself. And the third model is the most unique model, where we work with an organization. So if a new organization is coming to Telangana, we would understand their requirements, work with them, co-create the curriculum with them. And in case if I don't have the subject matter experts or the lab equipment, etc., I would much rather take the subject matter expert and the lab facilities from that organization. Just a case to point, and that is, and this program, the eligibility, everything is co-created, co-implemented. Safran, when they were setting up their aircraft engine facility in Hyderabad, they were not getting the right kind of people because three aerospace institutions are there. So we took them to our diploma colleges, diploma institutions, etc., electric and mechanical. But we didn't select the student based on a paper pencil test. We converted the skills to competencies, and competencies were hand dexterity, 3D visualization, spatial thinking, right? And we selected the students based on that. We come from a very simple standpoint in Telangana, which is, if you can't stand the sight of blood, you should never become a doctor or join the defense forces, right? So look at your competencies, and that's how you should choose your career.
We are trying to meet the industrial requirements and all. In Andhra Pradesh, what is happening is, we are having the skill development institutes, other skill development centers in all the government institutions. Maybe, see, previously a private institute used to give the training, but what government has done was, it was a thoughtful decision to see that all the existing ITIs, all the existing polytechnic colleges, all the existing National Academy of Constructions, others degree colleges, they are converted into skill development centers. The reason why this has happened was, first thing, we are using the existing government resources on a better way, first thing. The second thing is, the quality of the output that comes maybe from a government service, because they are directly under the control of the government administration, will be a far better output. This is the second thing. The third thing, what government thought was, the revenue expenditure, which generally used to be spent on running the colleges, is getting converted into capital expenditure. So if at all I have an old ITI, I'll be spending minimum amount over there, and then trying to convert it into a good skill development center, so that the revenue expenditure is getting converted into capital expenditure. So here I would like to quote one thing, like, with an expenditure of around 17 crore rupees, we were able to build 270 different type of skilling development institutes in the whole of Andhra Pradesh. So 200 skill hubs, 26 skill colleges, 31 NAC centers, they are being renovated with around 17 crore rupees, which is the capital expenditure for us. And then, as I said, the revenue expenditure is getting converted into the capital expenditure. The other thing is, a government faculty, maybe because of this government hierarchy, he did not update himself. Maybe the case might be that way. So what Andhra Pradesh consciously has done is, we have made our resources as the training partners. Training means we ask them to get a certification from the sector skill councils. Otherwise, we help them in clearing the TOTs to the respective sector skill councils, which is being met from the Conclave fund. So central government fund also we are trying to cap that way. So right now, this way, we are able to create a fleet of around 560 different teachers who are qualified across various streams. This way, what is happening is, the government infrastructure, we are trying to build it in a very, very crystallized and very nice way. The other thing what is happening is, as I told you, there are around 200 skill hubs spread across the length and breadth of the Andhra Pradesh. Let us understand where the skill hubs are being established. Every MLA constituency, otherwise every assembly constituency, a skill hub is established. The reason for that is, first of all, no area should be neglected, first thing. The second thing is, whenever it is being established in an assembly constituency, a little political intervention might come. Maybe the political boss over there, otherwise the political, they might be owning this institute, which if that happens, the scheme will be, it will get a lot of good things from them, because the political, they are also involving in that. Even bureaucrats from like us, we are also getting involved. That this is a conscious decision that was taken, like in all 175 constituencies, 175 skill hubs have been established. And based on the demand or otherwise based on some other request, 175 skill hubs have been increased to 200 skill hubs. And a skill hub means an institution wherein which is catering to the skill requirements into the lower rank, that is 1 to 4 NSQF level. We have the skill hub. From 5 to 9, we are having the skill colleges, and then we have another thing, skill university, which is about to be established. So we have, it was established that in all assembly constituency, one skill hub is established, and in all MP constituencies, that is member of parliamentary, that is 25 constituencies are there, 26 skill colleges are running here. So right now, I could say that in the last 10 months, in the government infrastructure from scratch, we have trained around 5,000 members on an average, and the basic thing that was a breakthrough was we are ensured that all the guys, the 25,000 people who have cleared it, they are getting well placed. In fact, we are being reviewed by our Honorable CM sir, otherwise Honorable Secretary Garu, otherwise Minister sir, every week based on the number of people whom we have trained. In fact, the question that will be asked in our meetings is not the number of people who are being trained. The question that are being asked for us, what is the kind of employment are you giving? Otherwise, what is the kind of employment, where they are getting placed, and then what is the kind of salary they are getting. This is what we are being judged. And then, as sir asked, whenever we are trying to find industry linkages, the other part that is happening in the state of Andhra Pradesh is, there is a novel scheme which was the government of Andhra Pradesh started, which is called as modernization of ITIs and then polytechnics and then other government institutions. In this, what happened was, first thing we tried to do away with the absolute courses. The courses which may be of the previous generation, we are done with that, and then we are introducing new courses in collaboration with AICTI and then AICTI. The other thing what happened is, every skill hub, if at all a skill course need to be started, it will be started based on the demand approach. Means if at all I get a letter from an industry saying that I have a requirement for, that is letter of intent, otherwise expression of interest from an industry saying that maybe I need 30 electrician. If that case comes, I'll start a batch of electrician in that. So it is not forward linkage, it is the backward linkage. First, we are starting a batches based on the demand from the industry. So industry, they will come to us, submit a letter of intent, and if at all the letter of intent is there, otherwise letter of expression of interest is there, based on that we are starting a course. The best thing that happens out of this is, the guy who will be coming out of the skill hub or the skill college, he will definitely be placed, because he knows the day itself he is taking his chair in the skill hub, he will be knowing in which industry probably he will be joining, because every skill hub, otherwise every batch will be tied up with 1 or 2 industries. So he will be knowing the probable industries where he will be starting his career. This is one thing that is happening. So instead of the forward linkage, it is the backward linkage. The other thing which is a novel thing in Andhra Pradesh government is, we have started there a program called ICSTP, that is Industry Customized Skill Training Program. These trainings are not being held at the institutes. These are being held at the in-situ trainings at the industry itself. Suppose sir was telling something about Hitachi. I think there is a company like Daikin. They have a requirement. I think Kia is a role model in Andhra Pradesh, and they are the best number of players who are recruiting people from ICSTP. So an industry is having a requirement. We will be sending students who will be paying for their charges, but they will be trained in the campus, that is in-situ campus, based on the requirements, means customized tailoring course it is happening here. So once they are done, they will be grabbed into the industry itself. The best thing that is happening, I want you all to pass this message across, otherwise maybe if at all you are a potential employee, even you can take this a positive thing that is happening in the state of Andhra Pradesh. What we are saying is, the employer's HR cost the government is bearing. So you need to hire a guy. He will be sitting in the office. He will be learning things maybe for a period of 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. That cost right now in the state of Andhra Pradesh, government of Andhra Pradesh is bearing. The whole courses I told, it is skill hubs, skill colleges, other whatever be it, it is being given for free of cost. In fact, for attending the course, the student is given 1000 rupees bus pass if at all is from far away, so that the attendance will be there, so that he will be very serious in the courses that he is attending. On top of that, Government of Andhra Pradesh is even sponsoring for the assessment examination. On an average, 600 rupees to 1500 rupees per certificate they will be charging sector skill councils. Andhra Pradesh government is bearing the cost for the assessment charge. So a student who is coming inside, he will get to know that he will undergo this course, and on top after completing that course, he will potentially be employed in such industry. First thing. The other thing is he will be having a valid certificate which is valid for 2 years. That is other thing we are doing. And other one
Right.
more part with this, I think I'll close my discussion. You must all be knowing that in the state of Andhra Pradesh, this is the only state in whole India which has started a 4-tier administration. In every state, maybe there are 3 tiers of administration: central government, state government, and then district administration. Whereas in Andhra Pradesh, our Honorable CM Garu has started the 4th tier of administration, that is village secretariat system. So we are using this village secretariat system very effectively to see that the people are onboarded into the skill cascading system. Means they are into our skill hubs, otherwise they are into our skill colleges. We are using this Grama Sachivalayam so that they will venture into, means see, for every 50 households, there is one Grama Sachivalayam secretariat expert is there. So he will be doing survey of all villages and then seeing that they get entered into the Skill Universe application. We have developed an app called Skill Universe app. Any potential requirement from a student, maybe he is a 10th class failed out and he wants some degree, he wants to have some skill, that will be onboarded onto the system. Right now, at this moment, we have around 2,15,000 members onboarded on our Skill Universe application who have asked for some sort of skilling requirement. This way, we are trying to cap this potential. And then by speaking with various departments, we are getting the demand from the industry. And sir was asking, this is how we are trying to bridge the gap between the student as well as from the industry, as well as from the academic part of it. That means I meant to say from the government part of it.
Right.
This is a clear blend is being seen in state of Andhra Pradesh. The other thing I want to say is skill development department in Andhra Pradesh is a mix of around 6 departments. The first one is ITI department, the next one Polytechnic department. Maybe the exact wording is not that. For your understanding, I'm saying that way. ITI, Polytechnics, and then CDAP, which is into rural skilling, and then National Academy of Construction. This is an unique organization, National Academy of Construction, which is there only in the both the Telugu states. That's it. And other than Andhra and then Telangana, no other state has an exclusive skill development institute for National Academy of Construction. And we have an agency called OMCAP, which is into this people who are going abroad. And this National Academy of Construction, I am working as Additional Director General. I hold both the posts in skill development. I am the Executive Director, as well as I am the Additional Director General for NAC. So that is a niche organization, otherwise an unique organization which is not there in area of other state, but which is there in the state of Andhra Pradesh. And I think with this, the question you have asked, I have addressed the question.
Right, right. I'll ask more about the National Academy of Construction. It's an interesting thing. You're saying available only in these 2 southern states, but quite interesting, as you have rightly pointed out that, or rightly presented that, you have built that ecosystem where you are not only focusing on the urban part of the state, but also going to the village level to churn out talent and make them ready for the industry. That's a unique model. Interesting. We'll come back to you. So let me have a perspective from university now. Since morning we've heard enough from the government and others also. Let's have a university perspective, that how university is preparing in terms of bridging that gap between academia and industry. We have with us Mr. Naresh Jadeja, Registrar, Marwadi University. Mr. Jadeja, you've heard speakers since the morning. Many speakers also talked about that, what they're expecting from the institutes. What are your expectations from the government, if I may ask you so? Let me reverse it.
Sure. Thank you very much. It's a very interesting conversation that is happening here. First of all, would like to bring it to your notice that education sector is going through a huge changes. 240 credit BTech program is now squeezed into 160 or 180 credits. So imagine that university had to take out around 10 to 12 courses out of the regular program, because so that student gets a freedom to try new things and all that. So a program is very light now. At the same time, the expectation of skill courses that we need to add to it because the industry needs that. So 160 or 180-degree BTech credit BTech program has lot to do with fundamentals. If that is taken out, then can student or candidate who comes to industry without fundamentals. So that's the balance that university is doing right now. I would like to mention here that right now any student completing diploma program, ready jobs are available. Reliance is hiring, maybe ArcelorMittal might be hiring, everyone is hiring. But the moment student converts that D2D program and gets a degree, full BTech, the same package or same jobs, he is not able to do it. So that's a play.
So why that's happening?
So student mindset, I would like to say, and here that's what we need to do, because we'll have to work on two things, speed and scale, right? We need big scale because Gujarat is very heavily industrialized state. We need more skilled manpower. And at the speed, I would like to mention this 10th standard. Only 21% of student in 10th standard took standard maths. Remaining 71%, 78% have taken a basic maths. That means they have decided they'll not get into engineering or medical or anything. So that means there's a huge thing. And the same ratio is completely different in states like Karnataka, Telangana. 78% student opting for higher maths or standard maths. So, you see the gap here. So now that 78% student needs to be informed by government through skill sector councils and everyone, that if that's not the case, that you don't want to get into there, you need to take up skill courses, you need to take up a skill career, which is equivalently good, equivalently paying good salaries and that thing, and you have a good future. Then only the mindset will change. At university, we are trying to do a lot. Very rightly said, that 1500, 600 rupees to 1200 rupees for certification course by any NSDC, we have started paying from our own fund. So that student is serious about the skills, they cover it, complete it, and get the recognition. So I think same thing what Andhra Pradesh, Telangana is doing. Gujarat government is doing a lot about it. We are beneficial to a lot of the scheme. Government of Gujarat is also having a tuition fee waiver where if we impart the skill, they pay up to 10,000 to 15,000 per student to a university or college to impart that skill. They are giving 1 crore rupees fund to establish some infrastructure. So there are a lot of scheme and we are benefiting out of it. But small changes like this, which will at overall level, at the state level, can change the seriousness. But most important, I would like to say, is awareness about the opportunity and making sure that they get the enough and right amount of salaries, due courses, so that 78% student, even if 10 or 20% out of which directly goes towards a skill or vocational courses after 10th, that will change the scenario.
Right. Interesting take. Let me take a point of view from Dr. Anunaya Chaubey, Provost, Anant National University. Sir, you heard these speakers and you heard other speakers this morning. We're talking about institutions and industry coming together, forging partnerships to address the challenges of that skill gap. Where do you think that industry and academia should do more certain things, 1, 2, 3, 4, where we can expedite this process, because time is running fast and everyday technology is changing and there is a requirement of new yet skilled workforce who are digitally empowered. So how do you are addressing those kind of things?
Well, we certainly don't have the luxury of time, and that is something that we are very mindful of. And the university that I represent, Anant, is a design university, and alongside design, what we teach would be courses in architecture and climate change. So as you can understand, so these are three sectors which at this particular point in time, when we are faced with daunting challenges of all sorts, these are three sectors or three different kinds of skill sets, that are most in demand to addressing or dealing with these wicked problems or challenges. The overarching pedagogical approach is that of design. And
design has to do with a certain kind of thinking. We call it design thinking, and it's something that would require each student or each training that we are looking to train and upskill with certain ability or certain skill. What we need to understand is the skilling actually starts at the school level. So the first thing to respond to your question is for both, say institutions of higher education and industries of all genres and of all sorts, because we are using the word skill a little too generically. Skill with what? You can't just say, give them training in, say, cooking tandoori food or Chinese. So there are million kinds of cuisines that you need to train them with. So there is so much going on out there. So and that's why schools become very, very important. And when we are trying to redefine education, trying to imagine or reimagine a kind of education that would address the requirements of Industry 4.0, schools become even more crucial, because that is where you start skilling and then upskilling with evolution in classes or in their education, so of the kids, in making them more conscious, making them more aware of the context in which they are living, right? And there are so many contexts. And with boards, for instance, that we have, education boards and certification boards, what I have seen in my experience is that there is a standardized, curriculum, which could be dated, which is neither here nor there. It dismisses, not cognizant of the uniqueness of a certain context. So there could be a kid, say, studying in a location, region like the South Pole, but what the kid is studying about essentially is features or a reality that exists in the equatorial region. So, I mean, that is too, I think, broad a generalization. But I would expect the academia as well as the industry to reach out to schools and the earlier stages of education, helping our kids acquire, higher cognitive skilling or agencies, to excite them. Industry, manufacturing, have always excited kids, the whole process of creating something. And that is something which I suppose our schools have been deficient at. It's rote learning, but thankfully now, and I have been associated with the new education policy since a very long time, I'm looking at the reality changing very quickly, very dynamically, and then the demographic dividend that we keep talking about, so for the next 30 years, I think we are in a position where we can really take good advantage of it. And I'm sure for the next 30 years, in the next few years, so you would have a younger lot emerging, more better equipped, more perspicacious and context aware, skill aware, to really take India, so to a 5 trillion economy around 2030. That is what we are looking at. So I would expect, say, more attention to be paid to school education, and more contribution coming from senior educational institutions and the industry, in making this happen. I wonder if there is anybody out here, say, from a school, anybody representing a school. There is somebody out there. Yes, most welcome.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
think it's a very interesting point you have raised, that starting this nurturing kids in the school. I think MP has started. I think Nikhil Dubeji is here. I think state of Madhya Pradesh has started some courses in the school level in AI and emerging technologies. I think some other states can follow
No, this
that.
is something that we have started, and,
Yes.
and our position as a design institution is certainly different from institutions that would offer, a broad range of training and education in different knowledge domains. So we are about creativity, we are about innovation, we are about community connect, so that's the core of our pedagogical training. So whatever it is that is innovated is born out of a need that the community feels. So our students connect with the community and they create and innovate and come up with a solution.
Right. I'll ask one more question because I find it very interesting because you're running a course on climate change, right? What has been your experience from industry in terms of getting placements for the kids who are coming out or passing out of your institutions? Because every day we're hearing about climate change, sustainability, climate action. But when it comes to pragmatic view of this, what kind of response you're getting from the industry? Because are they taking your kids from your institutes? Are they absorbing them?
So ours happens to be the first BTech or undergrad program in the country on climate change. There's no other climate change program, and they haven't yet graduated to the question of their industry absorbing our graduates. I think I would be able to answer that.
So I'll be in
in
touch
2
with
years'
you.
time.
I'll be in touch with you.
Please do.
Yes, yes.
Please do.
So
And
let's
do spread the word. So let them know that there are kids, but there is need, of course, so for more such programs.
Right. Let's have a perspective from Colonel Rajesh Ohol. He's a Deputy Vice President HR from Johnson Controls-Hitachi Air Conditioning India Limited. We welcome Mr. Colonel Rajesh. Colonel Rajesh, we all have been hearing since morning and almost every day that there's been a gap between what industry wants and what the students are coming out, passing out various institutes. We have heard since morning also the government perspective, the university perspective. But as a HR professional from a big company, what is your suggestion to industry or to government that what certain maybe 2-3 points that if we do these things right, we can have employable workforce coming out of the institutions?
At the outset, I must say that I was catapulted from the post-lunch session into the pre-lunch session. So I was not aware what question was going to come to me, but so I think I'll have a very fresh perspective. So I represent Johnson Controls-Hitachi. Both are 100-year-old companies, and this is a joint venture, 60% owned by Johnson Controls US and 40% owned by Hitachi. The company is into manufacturing the HVAC products. We are headquartered here in Ahmedabad. The manufacturing unit is at Kadi along with the corporate office. Now, as far as the industry requirement and the skilled labor force that is available, at the outset, just let me put across what we have done. When we realized that we wanted to have a skilled workforce coming into the plant, and not only skilled workforce, but diverse. When I say diverse, I'm talking of females, operators on the line. We got into an MOU with ITI Kadi, which is within the precincts of the plant. And for last 5 years, we have trained about 3,000 students who came out of the ITI straight into the plant. So this was a good symbiotic relationship that we built. And it has paid a huge amount of dividends as far as quality, 5S, and all those other aspects are concerned. So this is the start point when the joint venture came into force in 2015. One. Secondly, I'm glad that Andhra Pradesh Skill Development Council is also here, because when the state was, carved out, the first CM had requested the CMD to start some skill development programs in Andhra Pradesh. So I head CSR also of the company. So we had gone down and put up about 5 skill development centers in Andhra Pradesh at that point of time, which we ran for 5 years. Because AC repair and maintenance was a skill which was identified as not available, and the ITS at that point of time did not have the capability to, train in AC repair and skill development, those kind of things. So wherever the gap has existed, we have tried to have a captive way of trying to bridge the gap. By collaborating with educational institutions or the ITI, we are also in talk with Ganpat University to sort of one of the universities which are close within the our location to try and set up a line to train on the future products that are likely to come. Yes, what I can visualize as we go ahead is Johnson Controls is very, very committed to sustainability goals. And they have taken a very aggressive target as far as net zero is concerned. So definitely the product line will change to match that. And we will need something in the realm of sustainability. Some kind of training and curriculum that will help us as we go ahead.
Right, right, right. I think since you also had CSR, I think at one point of time, maybe 10 years, 15 years back, there are a lot of big companies who were investing in CSR to train. That time we never used to say skilling or upskilling, but to engage that particular community in that particular area so that they can be part of that company's work happening in some certain plant or certain area. I think that has transformed into now skilling and upskilling and reskilling. I think that is quite important. And also, Anju Sharma ma'am was saying in the morning that I think that was a very important part that he has raised today. That we're talking about smart. Suppose we are talking about smart factories, but are we aware of the fact that how smart factory works? So if industry knows that this is a smart factory, but are the educational institutes or some of the educational institutes are well equipped with the concept of smart factory or emerging technologies? So do you think that there's also something needs to be done in terms of upgradation of the faculty knowledge to that for that particular technology or particular domain, if you may say so?
See, going back to the example, when you want a particular kind of workforce to come to you, if you go to the normal labor contractor, you'll get what is available in the market. So you have to have a collaborative approach. You have to identify a good skilling institution. It could be a government, say Kaushalya. It could be one of the panelists sitting here. Their institutions who are willing to get into an MOU with you to be able to develop the kind of manpower that you need. And as I said, it's a captive manpower. And that is the only way I think we will be able to have the exact kind of people that we need. Because educational institutions on their own will work, if they work in a silo, they may not be able to give you exactly what you need. And yes, since our plant is located at Kadi, we would like to have somebody close by who can give us that. And since it's an AC manufacturing plant, maybe tomorrow Micron is going to put up a semiconductor manufacturing plant. They would need a different kind of manpower, completely different kind of manpower. You may have some defense industries coming in here who will need a different kind of manpower. So you have to have collaboration with institutions that have the wherewithal to train and to give you that kind of captive manpower.
Right, right. Thank you so much. I'll come back to you. Let's have a perspective from Rushikesh Rajendra. He's the CHRO and Senior VP of Strategic Initiatives Gateway Group of Companies. Mr. Rushikesh, you heard other speakers. I'll ask you a different question because you've heard government speakers, you've heard university leaders, you have heard your fellow peers from the HR world. What are the challenges, if you think that you're part of this HR ecosystem, and suppose a specified domain or niche domain of your company? So, what is the specific challenge you think that is there, and how those challenges can be addressed or overcome?
Thank you for having me here. I represent the Gateway Group of Companies in Ahmedabad. And we are one of the true multinationals, which are Indian multinationals, having offices in 15 different places across the globe, largely focused towards Europe. And I'm really amazed that the challenges which we have been talking about since the morning and we get to hear, they were exactly the same challenges 40 years ago. right? And everybody seems to be working towards the same challenge of bridging the gap between what the industry wants and what the academia provides. And to not my amusement, but to my amazement, no matter what we tend to do, we still find that out of the total number of engineering and management students coming out of the country uh, from the various academic institutions, only 12% seem to be employed. Only 12%. So what happens to the remaining 88% is a very intriguing kind of a question which we need to ask. And I think whatever we are talking about, pardon my very courageous statement, but we seem to be applying a cosmetic treatment on the problem which we are looking at. And by that cosmetic treatment, I mean that the basic premise which we were in this wonderful country of ours dealing with. I remember, and some people on the dais here, my co-panelists, that when I graduated or post-graduated, we never had this so-called cliched thought of placements. Right? We always looked at gaining knowledge through the academic institutions which we studied in. And unfortunately, I get to hear statements like the degrees today which we get are the receipts of the fee which we have paid. Unfortunately so. And the academic institutions have very subtly got converted or transformed into placement agencies. Is this something which we looked for? Is this something which we look forward to? And are we going to do something about it? Unfortunately, we seem to be losing track of the basic fundamental thought where each one of us who is unique on this very planet is born with our own set of talents. Who, where, when do we identify those talents in any one of our kids? And those talents which we are born with are in a very subtle manner and in a very concerted fashion are completely destroyed to a very large extent by our own parents, where there is a competition between the parents that मेरा बच्चा जो है वो आपके बच्चे से बेहतर कैसे हो है, या मेरा बच्चा अगर इंजीनियरिंग में जाता है तो आपका बच्चा भी इंजीनियरिंग में जाना चाहिए, या आपका बच्चा अगर कनाडा जाता है तो मेरा बच्चे में क्या कमी है. So this kind of a competition, which is not out of place, I'm not blaming anybody, but a fundamental thought which I would want to put across to my co-panelists and to the audience here is that can we have some kind of a skilling for the parents on how to groom our children? I mean, the parents are not able to do that, so they send it to these schools. There is a competition there that which school is better than the other school. The schools cannot do it, so the schools send it to the colleges. Colleges cannot do it, and the colleges then send it to the industry. And what do industry like us we do? I must give you a very interesting statistics. Being an IT company consisting of 1,600 people, we have an annual requirement of 10%, that is 160 people. This year, we visited about 20 plus institutions within the state of Gujarat, got 2,100 students to apply for these 160 positions, and the success rate was 0.03%. 0.03%. And this is not a, I'm not painting a dismal picture, please don't mistake me. What I'm wanting to say is that we have a tremendous amount of opportunity. Each one of us together, we have a tremendous amount of opportunity of bringing into our system a capability of identifying the talents. Talents which we are born with are just like our muscles. And these muscles, if we don't use, will remain weak. The muscles which we tend to use become our strengths. And how do we ensure that our children are able to, while identifying the talent, use and deploy those talents to gain strengths, and then we are able to maximize those strengths through the skilling which we are looking at.
Right.
And the biggest challenge today I am facing is of getting people who would work in the areas of their strengths. And in Gateway Group of companies, we have very consciously taken and adopted a path of identifying strengths and then deploying those strengths in the areas of the interest which the individual has. And then there is no struggle of any kind, because
True.
the so-called gap or the or the debate or the conflict between the needs and wants will never end.
Right, right. A very, very interesting perspective. And I think it's completely opposite of what you have been hearing since morning and also in this panel, that what about identifying the talents of the children in very early stage and nurturing them, and then see how they end up and where they end up. I think that is very important. Suppose someone is inclined to study English literature, and I keep on harming that, saying that no, you have to study coding. We will be going nowhere. I think very important point. So I'll take a perspective from now the tech company corporate now. We have with us Shrenik Parmar, CEO DegreeLabs. Shrenik, how you are helping institutions or the companies in terms of bridging that gap of skilled manpower? How your organization is helping in that?
So we're trying to bring in a very different perspective into how students can be skilled for Industry 4.0. So, recently over the last 1 year, I would say, we have seen the dramatic increase of AI platforms and the kind of magical work that they could do for us. And we have seen that, recently every platform that we use are being converted into AI automated, workforce systems. What this means is that we are already seeing the trend of the future, which means that the kind of jobs that are required very low skill power, right, are going to be replaced with the assistance that AI is giving right now. And we just saw how systems are being upgraded not in the matter of, in quarters. They're just being updated in the matter of months. Now, with this kind of power being unleashed in the world, now, how are we going to address the skills that would be required by workforce in the next 4 years, in the next 6 years, when we would have seen that AI would potentially do most of the jobs that are required by local, right? And for that very perspective, we need to ensure that the kind of skills that the academia and the private industries and organizations, that would be requiring is very key. So there, first we understand the kind of strategic placement of an organization in terms of how the next 4 to 6 years looks for them. We then try to understand from the perspective of academic curriculum in terms of how a university could be well positioned so that the kind of students that are entering into the Indian education ecosystem, and then when they graduate from that ecosystem, what could be the additional elements that could be brought, right? So when I did my MBA from University of Nottingham, I was a very curious kid, and we had this one assignment that was given to us, wherein there was an industry panelist who came in to excite us in terms of how PNG is currently transforming the ice cream industry, and they gave us a challenge, which was like, okay, so who are the tech people here? And I raised my hand over there, and they're like, okay, can you bring me a managerial problem, right, that you have faced, which is directly related to the institution? And they said, okay, we'll give you 1 month time for students over here to come up with managerial problems. 80% of my classmates who came from 21 different nationalities, they chose a problem which was pertaining to Apples and the Googles and all the big corporates. While for me, I chose a problem which was very personal to me, which was the kind of experience that I had when I went from India to the UK. And that very problem was that my experience was daunting. Now, when I heard an industry academia coming in and speaking about how innovation could change our lives, that certainly helped me to then start up a company which would then enable institutions to recruit students from 150 countries. fast forwarding this, what I also learned was that how universities and governments were actually collaborating with each other. When I started an organization in the UK, the government gave us incentives, right? They were like, okay, Shrenik, how many students do you need? We were like, we need 600 hours of this to develop this, SaaS-based platform that we're building. They gave an incentive to the university. University then had a placement office, which then hired 6 students for us who used to work 100 hours per month to us. And then we used to report back to university, and university was supposed to reach back to the government. So this way, the university were getting funds from the government, which they were utilizing to reskill and upskill their own students. And I'm just one example over here, right? Just imagine the number of startups that the UK produces every year. Imagine the number of funds that government is giving to, academic institutions, and how that funds are being re-given to students, because we are not paying students, right? We are just saying, okay, this student has gained this skill, and they have learned this much for the next 100 hours. And this is our next requirement. So through this, we were being funded for 4,000 hours in 2 years. Now that's the kind of support that a startup was receiving. And that's the kind of skilling that we gave to students who were still, in undergraduate level, in postgraduate level, in PhD level. And those skills were then utilized as their own assignments, because a student was not just interning with us. They had to give a complete 15,000 page report after interning and after getting paid. Now, I think this is the kind of structure, if brought into an Indian context, would really help what the industry wants in the next few years. How should an institution, prepare itself so that the students who are graduating from their own institutions can be made skill ready, which are changing at a rapid pace. Thank you.
Right. Interesting. You gave the example of how they're doing it in UK. I think some of those models are also present here now, not in that big way, but that can be surely scaled up. I think we have come to the end of this wonderful panel discussion, insightful. I would have loved to take some questions, but we can take this offline because we're running short of time. Next 2 sessions are there before the lunch. So, yeah, I was just coming to all of you. Just quickly, 20 seconds to all of you to start with Shrikantji, and then 20 seconds to you. Future.
So before I move to future, what you spoke about, Anant, right? So as part of FICCI and the National Skill Development Corporation, the Skill Committee for AVGC, we have already recommended to the central government a test after the 6th grade to identify people in case they are more creative. They should move in that direction itself. I'm not saying that they'll become animators or creators. Now, when we talk about your question, future, I think future, we need to understand one thing, that earlier, whenever we used to talk about skilling, it used to be a T. So you knew a lot of things, but you had a domain expertise. Now the T is changing into a pie, right? So you have 2 legs. One is your domain expertise, but the second one is AI, technology, leadership, team working, higher order thinking skills, all these things, and also a subdomain. Now that is how skilling ecosystem has to move.
Right.
So that's the future.
Right. Thank you so much, Shrikantji. I'll quickly come to Mr. K. Dinesh Kumar. Quickly, sir, 30 seconds. Future to you. Is it shining bright, or there are dark spots out there? Quickly, 20 seconds to you.
In the future, it is shining. It will be shining. But one thing from all of us, what we should be doing is like skilling is one thing which the message needs to be passed on to the people. What I felt being in Andhra government, otherwise working in the higher echelons, what I saw, like the message is not getting passed. So government of Andhra Pradesh, otherwise government of India has been doing so much. I believe for skill development, NSDC, they have a budget of not less than 4 to 5,000 crore rupees, which is being spent on the skill development. But is the message really getting passed on to the people? That is one thing, main thing. The other thing is, sir was asking like, the students who are coming into us, they also need to be trained along with their parents, because once they come and then take some skilling course, the basic problem that what I have been experiencing is, they want a package directly 5 lakhs, 6 lakhs, or 10 lakh rupees. That is one thing which is hindering the people who are coming. Means they don't want to start from the start of the career. Means directly they'll think like I should be earning around 10 lakh rupees, 15 lakh. That is one reason the employment opportunity is not getting abroad. From Andhra Pradesh, at least we are trying to counsel the parents. In fact, after attending a 3 months course, they are not even coming to give the assessment examination. Whether have you cleared, otherwise are you aware of the concept for the examination, which is government is bearing the cost for that examination also they are not coming.
Right.
Sir was telling we need to give some sessions for the students as well as for the family, and that is upon everybody of us who are sitting here.
Right, right. Session for students and parents as well. Quickly, Dr. Anunaya Chaubey, 20 seconds to you.
So things would be bright as they have always been, and in midst of that brightness, of course, there would be challenges. So life would be challenging, future is going to be challenging, but I think there would be a change and evolution in the mindset, as what COVID did. So I think we have all become quite aware that things are finite and things could change suddenly, and we are prepared now to respond to these like freak weather events or freak challenges or expected challenges, to deal with them. But then I think what we need to do is start as early as we can, and as already been pointed out, schools, younger kids, and help them discover their native talent and skills, intelligences as those are called. So nurture those, nourish those, and somehow try to prepare them, say, for a world of the future. And I think that's the most important thing that we can do, so
Right.
we have to start early.
Right, right. Rushikesh, Rajendra ji, quickly.
The future is beautiful. और हम सब लोग अगर मिलके उस एक मुकाम पे अपने आप को ले जाने का ठान लें जहाँ डाल डाल पर सोने की चिड़िया करती है बसेरा, वो भारत देश है मेरा, वो दिन दूर नहीं है.
Right. Thank you. Quickly,
Chaubey, if I could just add, there was a point that I missed. So while talking of schools and starting early, that's the phase, when potential dies, or potential is killed. Say any promise gets thrown out of the window, and has already been pointed out. Say the primary culprit, say would be the family, your home, parents in particular, and they never get blamed. Say all the blame for every failed promise is attributed to the education system. But the rote learning and where you are, or your brilliance, or your genius, your employability is marked on the score that you have at higher secondary level. So that's what determines your employability. So that has to go. Parents have to be, and I think, so the new generation of parents, they have become more aware, and they are more understanding, and they are less interfering, and they are more promoting. So there is hope.
Right.
There is promise.
Right. There's hope at the end of the tunnel. Quickly, Mr. Naresh Jadeja, Registrar, Marwadi University.
Yeah, so university has a responsibility to nurture as well as provide ecosystem, student education, research, and then entrepreneurship, and academic excellence, education and skills. So yeah, I think government is doing a lot. At the university, we have started one student, one skill per year. And I'm sure all those things that we are doing along with the government initiative, PCA graduates.
Right. Quickly, Shrenik.
We have the volume of youth. We have a projection of being the world's most powerful country in the next 20 years. I think what really matters is how do we upskill our own students, how do we place counselors in schools to help educate parents, and how do we bring justice for startups and emerging players in the market so that they can produce some good. That's what makes sense.
Thank you. Colonel Rajesh Ohol.
Yeah, for the future, this three words focus on sustainability, emotional quotient, and high-tech.
Sustainability, emotional quotient, and high tech. Can we have a big round of applause for an insightful panel discussion on India's nerve center of skill development, the road ahead? We talked about the past, we talked about the present, we also talked about the future. And again, We had a varied range of speakers from the government, from the HR professionals and universities, and also tech players who were all a part of this. Uh, Again, uh, uh, thanks to all our speakers: Shrikant, Sinha, Chief Executive Officer, Telangana Academy for Skill and Knowledge; Dinesh, Kumar, Executive Director, Andhra Pradesh State Skill Development Corporation; Mr. Naresh, Jadeja, Registrar, Marwadi University; Dr. Anunaya, Chaubey, Provost, Anant National University; Colonel Rajesh, Ohol, Deputy Vice President HR, Johnson Controls and Hitachi; and Rushikesh, Rajendra, CHRO, Senior VP, Gateway Group of Companies; and Shrenik, Parmar, CEO, DegreeLabs. I request Rajesh Day, Consulting Editor of APAC News Network, to come on stage, please, and kindly hand over a small token of appreciation to all our esteemed speakers. Can we have them on stage, please? We can start from this side. We can start with Colonel Rajesh Ohol. A big round of applause for him, please. Shrenik Parmar. To Dr. Anand Chaubey, Provost, Anant National University. So Naresh Jadeja, Registrar, Marwadi University. So Rushikesh, Rajendra, Gateway for Companies. So Dinesh Kumar from Andhra Pradesh State Skill Development Corporation. And Shrikant Sinha, Chief Executive Officer, Telangana Academy for Skill and Knowledge. A huge round of applause for all of them. And can we have a good look of all the speakers together?